Good morning, my YouTube viewers. Crystal here. I'm just here this morning because I have to make you a quickish video on what I did with the Analytics VidHaya competition question about JetRail. It was their time series analysis. I'm having to do this video very quickly because I have to leave my house in a little over 10 minutes to go somewhere. But one thing that I've noticed is that people will look at my videos when I make them on code reviews, but they're not too keen on looking at my videos when I do the blog post. And the blog post is probably has essentially the same information as the code review, except for the fact that I get paid when people read the blog post, but I don't get paid when people read the code review. Nevertheless, since my viewers like to see the code review, I'm going to have to do this very quickly before I leave my apartment. And then I won't be able to upload it until later because I'll be late for where it is I have to go if I upload it before I leave. So what I've done is I've taken the Analytics VidHaya competition question on time series analysis, which talks about JetRail, and I have used a neural network to solve the problem. And the thing about me using a neural network to solve the problem is I had a better score with the neural network than I did whenever I did the Analytics VidHaya tutorial on this JetRail, and I'll tell you what I scored. I scored, it was on RMSE. I scored 279.29 when I used the neural network, and whenever I used the Analytics VidHaya tutorial, I scored 333.10. So that was about 54 points better. So I was able to beat Analytics VidHaya score, which is very good. You know, it obviously wasn't a winner because the winner was about 130, but I'm very proud of myself, the fact that I actually beat Analytics VidHaya tutorial score. So the first thing we'll do is we will go over the problem statement. It says, welcome data hacker, congratulations on your new job. This time you are helping out unicorn investors with your data hacking skills. They are considering making an investment in a new form of transportation, JetRail. JetRail uses jet propulsion technology to run rails and move people at a high speed. While JetRail has mastered the technology, they hold the patent for their product. The investment would only make sense if they can get more than 1 million monthly users within the next 18 months. You need to help unicorn investors with the decision. They usually invest in B2C startups less than 4 years old looking for pre-sales. A, funding. In order to help unicorn ventures in their decision, you need to forecast the traffic on JetRail for the next 7 months. You are provided with the traffic data of JetRail since the inception in the test set. So the evaluation metric is root mean square error. So that's what you get. And then what we would have to do if we wanted to see that they had 1 million monthly users, which I suppose I can do that later, is you'd have to do a filter and just filter out the last month. And then if you filtered out the last month, then you could sum the counts. And so when you filtered out the last month and you sum the count, then you would be able to tell if you had 1 million monthly users. But they didn't ask for that in the they did ask for it in the problem statement, but they didn't ask for it in the submission. So I suppose that that's one thing I could do. I can't do it right now, but one thing I can do is I could go through and see if they actually did have 1 million users in the last month. I can do that this morning when I go to where it is that I need to go. So the first thing we would do is we would import the libraries. I wrote this program on Google Colab, and then I saved it on my GitHub account. So we import NumPy and Pandas. Then we load the data sets. I've got the data sets loaded on my personal GitHub account, so I didn't have to use up the space in my personal Google Drive. You look at your train file, you look at your test file, and then you look at the sample. So this is what Analytics Vidhya wants to see. But the thing is that we can test it. We can put a filter in the predictions. We can put a filter in the predictions, and we can filter out the last month. And then when we filter out the last month, then you can find out whether or not you had 1 million viewers, which I think is something that I'm going to do later on today, just to give me, not to give me something to do, I've got plenty to do, but to help quantify whether or not JetRail is going to get the money. So the next thing we do is we check for any null values. So in this instance, we don't have any null values. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to extract the date and time by using datetime. So train datetime equals, and then PD to datetime, train datetime format, and then we extract the date and time to do that. And now what we're going to do is we're going to ordinal encode the date and time. And so we're going to ordinal encode the date, really. So basically what we're going to do is we're going to use this function called toOrdinal, and it's going to convert the date to a Gregorian date. So the date is now converted to a Gregorian date. And now what we're going to do is we're going to extract the hour from the date time. And so the hour is going to be, because they check the ticket prices every hour, so the hour is going to be divided into 24. So that's going to give you a decimal value. And then so what you do is you take the train date ordinal and you add it to the train hour, and that's going to give you your date hour, and that's what we're going to be using, the date hour. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to do graphics, so you can see a graphical representation of how many customers JetRail had in the train period. Just another graph telling you basically the same thing. Now we're going to define x and y equals train count, x equals train dot date hour, x test equals test dot date hour. We're going to reshape it to a format that the model wants to see. We're going to normalize the data, and when you normalize the data, what you do is you convert it to a number between 0 and 1, so the data has been normalized. So now we split X up for training and validation, and that's just a way that we've done that in Pandas, so we didn't use the train test split. Now what we do is we define our model, and we're going to use an MLP regressor, which is sklearn's neural network, and we're setting the verbose on true, so you can see all of the different iterations. Normally the verbose is on false, but I like to see the iterations to see how much work it's doing. And if you don't set the verbose onto true, then you'll see it churning away, but you won't actually know exactly what it's doing. So we've got our array for our validation set. We had an RMS value of 188.79, which I thought was very good. I thought that was a very good value. We set up a data frame so you can take the actual values and compare them to the predicted values. And then now we have a graphical representation, and you can see that the prediction goes on a linear line because the prediction is actually the green line. Now what we're going to do is we're going to combine x, and so x1 equals np append train.8hour date hour and test.8 hour, and then we're going to check the shape, and that's 23,400. We're going to reshape it to something that the model wants to see. We're going to normalize the data and convert it to a number between 0 and 1. So now what we're going to do is we're going to split x up for training and testing. Train size equals int len train. X train x test equals x1, then train size, and then x1 train size again. Y train is y train size, and then you're going to check the shapes. So now what we do is we define the model, but instead of predicting on X val, we're going to predict on X test. And I can't tell you the RMSE model for X test because I don't know what it is. So we've got our prediction. We've graphed it. You can see how the graph of the prediction is the amber line. Now we do our final submission, so you can see our final submission. And we have submitted that to Analytics VidHire. And that concludes this presentation. I was just a few minutes off what I thought I was going to be. I made this presentation because people like looking at my code reviews. They'll watch my code reviews. If you like my video, please like, subscribe, and share. If you want to keep receiving my videos, then please press the bell button next to the subscribe button, and you will receive a notification whenever I make a video. If you want to support me, I've got my email address to my PayPal account in the description box below. But unfortunately, I'm sorry, I have to go now because I'm running late. But I have made this video for you, and I'll upload it this afternoon. Goodbye.